Angry guy here, and women are passing away as men live longer. Women are passing away as men live longer. So we're going to be looking at a bunch of different articles. The first one is one you've already seen already. It says US millennial women are now more likely to pass away in their late 20s and early 30s than any generation since the World War II era. However, that's not the article that I want to focus on because many of you've already seen that. What I actually want to really jump into and I want to talk about is the fact that as a result of feminism, we're seeing that the lifespan of women is decreasing, but the lifespan of men is actually set to see a massive rise. You see, men give so much of themselves, so much of their lives to provide for the families, to provide for others, that they don't take proper care of themselves. But we are seeing reversals. So men are living longer now. However, a specific group of men, a major survey reveals that in the past 20 years, Britain has risen from 10th place to inside of top 5 in League of Life expectancy, and British men can now expect to live longer than those in France, Denmark, Spain, and Greece. So, what is the reason why these men are actually living longer? Better off men are revealed to be healthier than ever before, pushing the average life expectancy of all males up to almost 76 years compared to just more than 70 2 decades ago. And you have to understand that's the average life expectancy. So that means that these guys at the other end are actually living now to be into their 80s and 90s, well into their 80s and 90s. This is a massive gain. Now, what does that have to do with men as a whole? Well, more and more men, especially in the United States, are no longer marrying. They're no longer having children. They're focusing on themselves, their own happiness. They're taking care of themselves. They're sleeping more. They're eating better. They're resting. They're doing much better in life as a result of dropping out of the workforce. And if they do work, they're only working enough to provide for themselves and to save money and live higher quality lives just on their own. Millions of men have dropped out of the workforce, leaving companies struggling to fill jobs. And this is an article from 2023. It's a matter of our national identity. And, there's a lot of people that are grieving right now. A large number of American men of prime working age between 25 and 54. That's a massive, massive number. And that's a crazy range. So this is not just so it's young men and it's men in their 50s. So basically, everyone from Gen Z to Gen X are dropping out of the workforce in terms of men. They're not working or even looking for work, resulting in a major hole in the American economy. The number is only growing steeper and steeper. In 1953, 98% of men in that age range had a job or were looking for one. That number has fallen ever since. Today, 7.2 million men have essentially dropped out of the workforce. These are not old men. These are men between the ages of 25 and 54. This is a massive, massive demographic. It's a matter of our national identity, said Mike Rowe. And I think it's a giant issue. And by the time we realize how big of an issue it is, we're going to have a hard time turning the temperature down. It's not an issue rooted in the unemployment rate, which at 3.5% is the lowest it's been in 50 years. So what's behind the phenomenon? We have more jobs than we have people for them, and about half of the jobs, and about 1.5 jobs for every one worker, says Jay Timmons, who leads the National Association of Manufacturers. And he said that I've never thought I'd be able to say, he told CBS, that, we can't fill these jobs. But now it's kind of an all hands on deck situation. We've got to fill these jobs that are open. More than 770,000 manufacturing jobs are open right now, according to the latest federal count from November. And the number has surged in recent years as companies reinvest in American-made products or try to. And it's not just a perception. Carla Trotman, CEO of Electrosoft, a company outside of Philadelphia, that makes circuit boards said she wishes 45 people worked there instead of 30, but that she can't find people to fill the roles. So she cannot find just 15 men. 15 men. The cost cutting company, it's costing the company around let me correct myself, $5 million in top line revenue as she's enforced to down potential contracts. So they're losing massive amounts of money. These men are not taking these jobs. They don't have to, because listen, guys, when men can live on very little, men don't need a lot to survive. And the more that men pull back, don't marry, don't have children, instead of focus on their own livelihood and their own best interest, we're seeing the decades and decades of consequences that have been compounded upon men for marrying, because there's this perception that a man will do better in marriage, but that's something that's far fetched. That's 100 years ago. That's in our grandfather's generation, because many of our parents are now divorced as well. They were miserable people. You look at the baby boomer generation, a lot of these guys can't stay together. They can't stay in a solid relationship. And you can look at the consequences for marriage, where the man gets married and suddenly his livelihood begins to deteriorate, his wealth begins to evaporate. They say, well, married men make more money than single men. They do, because they have more mouths to feed. How much disposable income does a married man have compared to a single man? And that's where they shut their mouths, because you have a married man that makes $150,000 a year, but he doesn't even have $20,000 to spend on himself. While you have a single man that makes $50,000 a year, and after taxes, all of that money is his, and he's walking around with $30,000, $40,000 in disposable income, because he's also making more money on the side. It's unbelievable. And men are living better, higher quality lives. They're sleeping more. They're playing video games, watching television, relaxing, focusing on their connection with God, growing closer to God, happy, traveling. The passport kings are moving around the world, seeing new places, making new friends. They're having relationships with tons and tons of women. Of course, when you look at the women in Western society, they are attacking these men, trying to shame these men, while these men are cleaning up around the world. What's very sad is that whenever you hear that a passport king doesn't do well overseas, like for example, one of them passes away because something went wrong, you have these women celebrating on social media, like, yep, look at that passport, bro. Look at that. Y'all getting deleted. All right, I bet y'all need to learn your lesson. Come back and find yourself a feminist woman. Step your game up and find a feminist. They don't comprehend that these men are walking away because they don't want to marry a woman in Western society. They are choosing to go outside of Western society because they do not like what's being offered in Western society. They don't want to marry a feminist. And these women are literally out here saying that, well, a real man would be able to find a woman over in Western society and, marry the feminist of his choice. And it's like they refuse to accept that men don't want to marry these people. They don't want to have relationships. They don't want what's being offered. They are rejecting these things. I showed you a picture of a comment that was made by this African American lady. Great to hear, regarding men walking away from society and going overseas to start new lives with women who appreciate them in foreign countries. And she goes, great to hear. Now make it a one-way, not round-trip ticket. Guys, you look at the narcissism, we are not checking for y'all. Easy to choose a woman when you are paying. But women in America say that you need to make at least above six figures, or even preferably $1 million a year or more. And it better increase from there, because her cost of living, her standard of living is only going to increase when you're with her. And she says the real flex is being able to bag a woman anywhere without having to book a ticket. Y'all are really doubling down on this false narrative of being chosen. You really should have your choice of baddies here if you are worthy, but you are not. But it's like they will never admit that the men don't want these women. They don't like the way these women behave. They don't like what these women are offering. They don't like the personalities, the narcissism, the disrespect. They don't want feminism. They don't want that masculine energy. It's like these women don't get it. they cannot comprehend. Men don't want that masculine energy. Like this right here, that was that masculine energy. That's that masculine energy. Like if I want a man, then I'll go and get myself a man. I'm just being real. Like if I want a man, I'm gonna get myself a real man. I'm gonna get myself a real man, like who does real man stuff and can offer me that like real masculinity, not this weird thing. I'm gonna get me a real man if I want a man. I'm just gonna be honest about that. So if I'm looking for a woman, I want femininity. I'm gonna go overseas and find someone who has femininity. Okay, but these women are bringing that masculine energy that I didn't ask for. I didn't ask for that masculine energy. I don't want that masculine energy. I have my own masculine energy. Okay, I'm looking for femininity. I'm looking for a feminine touch, something that these gentlemen don't know anything about. Okay, because I'm not even gonna call them ladies like that. Because this, and they're not really acting like gentlemen. They're acting like this is really toxic behavior coming from these people that are exhibiting this masculine energy. And like I said, if I want to have a if I want masculine energy, I'll go get myself a respectable man, who knows how to conduct himself properly like a gentleman and be respectful and treat me like a king. I'm just being real like that. If I want a man, I'm gonna go get a man. If I want masculine energy, I'm gonna get a man. Okay. If I want a woman, I'm gonna get a woman. I'm gonna get a woman who exudes and represents femininity. That's why these men are going overseas and getting themselves a woman overseas. Men are tired of this and they're not taking it anymore. What do you guys think regarding this? I want to know your thoughts on this. Women are passing away as men are living longer. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. We'll talk about it there. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.